Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. ZCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Let's talk about one of the founding members of the Avengers in the comics, AntMan. First appearing in Tales to Astonish number 27 in 1959, Dr. Henry Pym has been a staple to the Marvel Comics for over 60 years. Despite him being really hated personally, I think he is the most underrated Avengers character yet. Thanks to the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, we got an amazing version of two AntMan characters, the original Henry Pym version and the second AntMan Scott Lang. However, in 2015, Marvel Studios got their shot to make their version of the character a staple of their cinematic universe. So was this first impression good? Well, let's figure that out today. This is AntMan. The next evolution of the Marvel Cinematic Universe brings a founding member of the Avengers to the big screen for the first time with Marvel Studios' AntMan. Armed with the astonishing ability to shrink in scale but increase in strength, Master Thief Scott Lang, played by Mike Hannigan himself, Paul Rudd, must embrace his inner hero and help his mentor, Dr. Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, protect the secrets behind his spectacular AntMan suit from a new generation of towering threats against seemingly insurmountable objects. Pym and Lang must plan to pull off a heist that will save the world. So it's a heist movie, and it sounds incredibly uninteresting. But let's just say that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because this movie is pretty awesome. Let's start with the characters. Firstly, we have the main character, AntMan himself. At first, I thought Hank Pym would be the main character and the AntMan we would follow throughout this movie, but it was Lang, who is a great version of AntMan, and Paul Rudd adds some extra charm to the character, which makes him incredibly likable. Is he my favorite version of the character? No, he's my second favorite. A close second at that. My favorite version is still the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes version, where he's extra charming, and he even refuses to become a hero until he saves his daughter at the end. So yes, this is my favorite version of Scott Lang's AntMan. Now we have Hank Pym. Again, not my favorite version of the character. That still goes to the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes version, but I still love where they brought this version of Hank Pym, as he's the classic mentor. Then we have Hope, played by Evangeline Lilly, who kind of disappointed me, as she's in the background in 95% of the movie before she is shown the wasp suit at the end. Honestly, I wanted Janet Van Dyne, who wouldn't appear until the next film, as the primary character. But instead, we had Hope, just so Scott could have a love interest. There were some times where I enjoyed her character, including the first scene where she rejects Hank as her father due to the death of her mother, and the scene with the wasp suit. But other than that, she's beyond disappointing. Now we have Luis, played by Michael Pena, who is funny as hell. He's got probably the best comedy inside of the MCU, with the fast-paced stories he tells. That is exactly why Luis is my favorite character. Now we have our villain, Darren Cross, aka Yellow Jacket, played by Corey Stoll. Now, despite the fact that he is very similar to Ant-Man, following the formula of the first phase of the MCU movies, he's still a decent villain in my opinion. I specifically love the design of his suit, as it made him look threatening, though his business motives are kind of stupid. I'm really sick of the business villains in these films these days. It's a tired cliche, really, at this point. Okay, enough about the characters. How are the visuals? Well, they're really good. The ants, the shrunken Ant-Man, and the final battle on the train set are expertly made using great VFX. How's the music? Well, it's freaking fun, as Christoph Beck makes jazzy music that makes you feel like you're having a great time. And the action scenes are great. The scene where Scott first shrinks down, the scene with the Falcon, and the final battle are all great. And they are some of the best moments in the MCU ever. Now we have my final verdict. Ant-Man is a very fun and energetic movie with good characters, great visuals, awesome music, and stunning action. This is one of the most underrated MCU movies, and that's why I can't give it anything but a solid 9 out of 10. A small-scale movie, but it does something big. Well, that's it for this review. I know it was quite short, but whatever. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and tune in next week when I take a look at the second Harry Potter movie. With that said, I'm Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and with that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week.